What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Pastor ABE, with this show that we call From Curious to Learners. For we know that the curious become the learners, and the learners become our leaders. This is a milestone episode. This is episode number 20. Episode number 20 of From Curious to Learners, and we are so happy about this episode. So why don't everybody just give us a round of applause for our episode number 20. Yeah, it's been a long road as we work through the mechanics of the show and how we're going to do it. How we're going to get everything worked out and everything. And so we're so proud that we have reached this milestone of our 20th episode. Now, I had a lot of things that I wanted to talk about for episode number 20, but today what I'm going to do is I've invited one of our most frequent guests. One of our most frequent guests is joining us here today for episode number 20. Our guest is none other than Malik Abraham. Malik Abraham, just as a refresher for some of you who don't know him, Malik Abraham is our youngest son. Malik Abraham is someone who had a very storied career playing collegiate basketball. He finished number 2 all time on the 3-point list and made 3-pointers at Carson Newman University. Malik Abraham is a shooter. He's a basketball player, but Malik Abraham fits a certain demographic that we really wanted to bring him back to talk to our learners today. We want Malik Abraham. So everybody make Malik feel welcome. He's a frequent guest on the show, but why don't you make Malik feel welcome right now? There we go. Malik, I think they like you, son.
Yeah, I got a couple fans.
You got a couple fans out there. Listen, Malik, I appreciate you coming back to talk to us today, and we have a very serious topic that we're going to address today. Today's show is entitled Curious about the lingering symptoms of COVID-19 from a survivor's viewpoint. Mm-hmm. Curious about the lingering effects of COVID-19 from a survivor's viewpoint. Now, the reason why, the elephant in the room is, the reason why you're here is because you are a COVID survivor. Mm-hmm. Am I right about it?
You're right.
You're right. And so the reason why I invited Malik back here to talk to you guys today is because Malik is a COVID survivor, but Malik is also in that demographic. He's in that demographic of young people who seem to think that you guys are invincible, Malik. Y'all think y'all are invincible. So what I want is 100% candor from you.
Yeah.
I want you to be 100% honest. I want you to be 100% candid with the people, because we need to make sure that we get a real understanding of what COVID is all about. Everybody in the media, everybody focuses on mortality rate. That means how many people are dying. There are 2 metrics that we focus on in the news when it comes to COVID-19. We focus on the fact that we have over 7.1 million Americans now, and that number is steadily climbing, who have been infected by COVID. We focus on the fact that we have over 200,000 people, 200,000 Americans who have died from COVID-19. But what we don't focus on, what we don't spend any time talking about, are the effects of COVID-19 on the survivors. And so that is why we want to bring Malik here, because Malik, I really want you to talk to the young people. I want you to talk to everybody. I want you to talk to people in your age group and see if you can impart some wisdom as a COVID survivor. Is that all right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's get into it. So Malik, how did you, two questions, a two-part question. How did you contract COVID, and how did you know you were affected?
It was what day was it? It was a Sunday. It was a party I got invited to. It was actually like a bonfire type thing. I went there with a couple of my friends, and you know, we was at the party. I wasn't really like all up in people's face or anything, but a couple of days after, it was a Tuesday where I actually I started feeling like I had a headache, and I don't know, I just started feeling a little weird. So I sent out a text to my family and everything. I was like, try to stay away from me, you know what I'm saying? I feel a little under the weather. I'm sure y'all remember that text I sent. And a couple days after that, I went and got tested, and turns out I was positive. So yeah.
Okay, go a little further. What you said, you felt a little weird. You felt a little under the weather.
Mm-hmm.
And this was how many days after the bonfire?
2 days.
2 days. Went to a bonfire with some friends, all young people. He went to a bonfire. He really wasn't up in people's face as he know. And this was an outside event, yes?
Yes.
This was an outside event. Went to a bonfire outside, but a couple of days later, he started to feel under the weather. What does under the weather feel like for someone who's been exposed to COVID? What are some of those symptoms that you experienced?
I didn't really have a lot of symptoms. I just had the headache, and I was coughing a little bit, sneezing, but that was the main things. And then after that, that's when I actually lost my taste and my smell a few days after that. So in the beginning, it was just mainly the headache.
I remember right after the party, right after going to the bonfire, Malik complaining about a headache that just wouldn't go away. Malik complained about a headache that he just could not shake. The headache would not go away, but because my wife is so meticulous, at this point you got to understand, this was back in June. This was back in June of this year. And at this point, we are 3 months into this COVID thing, and we're on red alert here at the Abraham household. My wife had us on red alert. We didn't go anywhere. We socially distanced even inside the house. If any, all of our groceries that we got, everything was being brought in through Instacart or Publix or whatever. But the thing is, she was so meticulous that whenever anything came in, it would take her 30 minutes or more even to put away the groceries, because every bag had to be brought in through the garage. Every item had to be wiped down with Clorox wipes or something like that. So we were already on high red alert. My wife did not want Malik to go to this party. Malik, do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
What did your mama say to you when you were, Ma, I really want to go?
I don't really remember, but I know she was really adamant about me not going to the party. And now that I think about it, the party wasn't even all that fun anyways.
So the party wasn't even all that fun. Your mom was like, don't go to the party, don't go to the party, don't go to the party. But if you do, wear your
mask. And then she told me I was gonna have to quarantine afterwards.
So he was gonna have to quarantine anyway. So the rule was, you're gonna go to this party. You made up your mind. You're 23 years old. You've already made up your mind. No, at this point you're 22. You're 22 years old. You made up your mind. I want to go to this party. I've gotten cabin fever really bad. I'm gonna observe social distancing. But my wife said, when you get back from this party, you're gonna socially distance yourself. You're gonna isolate yourself and quarantine yourself in this house anyway. So that was already a given, that he was gonna go to the party, he was gonna go to the bonfire, but when he got back, he was gonna have to be on quarantine anyway. But he went to the party and he got back, and now he has this nagging headache. Take it from there, Malik.
Yeah, I had a headache, and I was just in the bed, and
What was your energy level? How was there? Were you feeling lethargic? What were some of your symptoms from an energy standpoint?
I mean, it didn't really feel like I had like the flu or anything, but like I said, I just had this, like he said, I had the nagging headache, and I at that point I knew, I just probably, I was like, yeah, I probably got it. So we went and got tested, and it turns out I was positive. So yeah.
And so right away, our household was already on red alert. Malik was already, he had already self-quarantined when he got back, so he was not going to be having contact with any of us. There was no contact with any of us anyway. But when Malik got back, he started having the headaches. What else happened? What happened from there? What series of sequence of events transpired in the household, and how did your symptoms begin to progress after that point?
I'm not sure. I started taking some medicine, and I don't know. After that, I lost my smell. I think I lost my smell first, and then I lost my taste, and yeah. Then I went and got tested after that. I think that's how it went. I lost my smell and my taste, and then I went and got tested.
And that's the thing, folks, is that is the telltale sign. That is one of the doctors will tell you that is one of the main signs of COVID-19 is that when you lose your sense of smell and taste, that is one of the main ways, along with several other symptoms, the nagging body aches, the headache, the fever, a dry cough that you can't go away. But if you get the fever, that is when things tend to get really, really bad. Malik never got that fever. He never got that fever. He never really got some of the other major symptoms. But when he lost his sense of smell and his loss of sense of taste, that is when we knew, okay, it's time. Let's go. Let's go get tested. My wife scheduled him for a test. He went and got tested, came back. Malik is now positive, and we have COVID-19 in our household. Malik, how did you feel knowing that you're one of them? That number is growing. It's steadily climbing. Back in June, I don't know what the number was, but the number was steadily climbing. How did you feel knowing that you were one of the numbers that's being reported and talked about on the news every day? How did that make you feel?
It was crazy because me and one of my friends had actually been joking like, yeah, it's not gonna be me. I'm not gonna be one of those people. And come to find out, I was one of those people. So yeah, I was just one of those people.
So you said that I'm you and your homie. I'm not gonna be one of those people. I'm not gonna be one of those people. But you're not alone. Mm-hmm. So many young people think that just the way Malik thought. I'm not gonna be one of those people. Young people, millennials, Generation Z, you guys think that I'm not going to be one of those people because young people have a sense of invincibility. Are you invincible, Malik?
Obviously not.
Obviously not. Obviously not. But we praise God. We praise God that God is a keeper, and we are a household of faith. We are a praying family. And we constantly pray, my wife and I, and cover our household and cover our children, and we cover everybody in prayer constantly. And Malik is here today, and you're not one of the other statistics of those who have succumbed to the worst of COVID-19 and passed away. But even after, well, let me ask you. Are you fully? What is your COVID status now?
I tested negative, but I still haven't been able to smell or taste anything, and it's been 3 months.
So it's been 3 months. 3 months, folks, and this is what I want you young people to pay attention to. I'm going to look right into this camera. Look right into this camera. Young people, listen. It's been 3 months. Malik was officially cleared. He first was cleared by the Georgia Department of Health and the doctors and his personal physician July 1st. of this year. Malik was cleared, they stated that you are COVID free July 1st of this year. Tomorrow, when this video goes up, it will be October 1st. From July, when he was cleared, from June, when he contracted COVID-19, he was cleared July 1st. Tomorrow is October 1st. Young people, hear this. If you think that I'm not going to be one of those people, listen to Malik's story. Malik has been struggling with not being able to smell or taste from July until now. Malik, talk to me about some of the psychological effects of dealing with this I can't smell and I can't taste.
It's probably one of the most annoying and difficult things I've ever had to go through, because it's like I went to the party with multiple people, and I was the only one to actually, well, not me and one other person. We was the only two people to actually get the coronavirus, but I had the most extreme symptoms, and I still have the lingering symptoms. And sometimes I just be sitting there like, why me? Why? And they still go out and they don't have any problems. And I'm like, why me? Why? How come I didn't get better? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just really annoying. But I'd rather be like this than somewhere dead in the hospital or something.
Yes, that's true. That is true, and it's and we praise God that things are as well as they are, and that you are continuing to improve. And I want to interject this. I want to interject this. Look at Malik. Malik probably sitting over there right now with maybe 5% body fat. I don't know. Malik is an athlete. Malik played basketball all through high school, all through college, set records in college. Malik is preparing to play professional basketball at some level. Malik was up to this point. In June, Malik was working out every day. He's working out every day. The guy gets up, he goes out and he'll run 3, 4, 5 miles like it's nothing. He's in shape. He's in shape. But still, July, August, September, October, still 3 months. And he's dealing with these lingering effects of COVID. So, for those of you who think that, you know what, I'm going to risk it all. I'm going to risk it all. Just because you may not die from COVID, take a lesson from Malik. Malik, I mean, I know this thing. Well, what are some of the other things? I know you wonder why me, but what does this cost you in terms of your peace and your well-being dealing with this COVID?
Anybody that knows me knows that I don't really go out anyways. In college, I never really went out. They would try to get me to go out. I'm not really like that. So it's like the one time I actually do go out and try to do something, you know what I'm saying, fun or whatever you want to call it, this happens. So, it was just a learning experience. Listen to your mom, she's usually right. And I'm not just saying that because she's sitting right there. So just be smart and be mindful of what you're doing before you do it.
What is, when you say be smart? When you say be smart, what are some of the things that you would recommend young people your age do that I just got to go out? I don't want to. I can beat COVID. Mm-hmm. Well, what is your advice to them?
Wear a mask. It's just that simple. Everybody, I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about why wear a mask, why do this, why do that. Probably if I had worn a mask, I wouldn't be how I am right now. So that's my biggest thing. Either wear a mask or just don't go out.
Wow, that's heavy. Listen, I'm going to look right into the camera again. Malik just said it. if you must go out, if you're gonna risk it all, if you're gonna risk it all anyway, because I know I hear some of you fellas out there, man, you just don't know. She's a baddie. I'm gonna risk it all for her. I got to go out. If that's the case, man up and mask up. Man up and mask up. Because the doctors say, Dr. Fauci and others in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, they say that if we would just wear a mask as a country, if everyone would adopt of the practice of wearing a mask, then COVID doesn't have anywhere to go. COVID has to spread. I read an article today, Malik. I read an article today that says that COVID actually needs these super spreader events in order for it to propagate. Mm-hmm. So COVID needs these events where people are packed in, where they are not obeying social distancing guidelines, where they are not wearing a mask. It needs those settings in order for it to spread and to propagate. Otherwise, it's not going to spread. If you wear a mask, you wash your hands, you disinfect, you obey social distancing guidelines, guess what? Your chances of getting COVID-19 are greatly diminished. They're greatly diminished. Now, Malik, I want to know, how are you feeling right now, though? I mean, it's been 3 months. What has been your journey as far as how your smell and your taste has progressed? What are some of the things that you've done to try to remedy the situation? What are some of the things you've done, and how have you maintained your sanity for 3-4 months without being able to smell or taste?
I went to the doctor and they prescribed me some antibiotics. I got some special type of nose spray that I've been using twice a day, and what's the thing called that it's been draining my nose and stuff like that? What's that called?
Navage.
Yeah, the Navage. I've been doing that. It's supposed to drain your nose and your sinuses and all this stuff. And how I've been keeping my sanity, I don't know. I try not to think about it. There's nothing I can do. But my smell and my taste is coming back, and it comes back in spurts. Like at the beginning, it was like zero. I couldn't taste or smell anything, but now it's like I can smell bits and pieces here and there. I can taste bits and pieces here and there. Food doesn't smell good to me. That's weird. Like my mom would make chicken or eggs, and it all smells the same. I don't taste my toothpaste. I can't taste. Everything tastes the same basically.
Wow.
So yeah, that's crazy. But I just try not to think about it. It could be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse. It could be worse. But there again, these are some of the lingering effects of COVID that nobody really talks about. Everybody talks about COVID hitting you and is either going to have some type of final outcome, and then it's over. You either die from you get COVID, you either die from COVID, you recover from COVID, but no one talks about what happens when you survive COVID. And I'm gonna continue on doing these types of shows because I want to talk to some people. I want to find somebody who actually was on a ventilator and talk about that, because that has to be a very terrible experience. Now, we were very concerned. My wife was very concerned with Malik. For Malik, so we made sure that Malik got all the right checkups. Malik, what are some of the various doctors that you've gone to after even after being cleared of COVID? What are some of the doctors that you've gone to, and what do the doctors say?
I've been to the ENT and the cardiologist. They really didn't have much to say. The ENT is actually the person that prescribed antibiotics and the nasal spray, and the cardiologist, I actually have an appointment coming up to get an MRI on my heart coming up, and yeah, they haven't really had anything to say. They drew some blood, and all the blood work was fine, so they don't really know what's going on with my sense of smell and taste. Yeah, they didn't really know what to tell me.
Yeah. So then again, you may survive, but you're not invincible. You can go out, you can roll the dice, but if you must go out, I want you guys to hear it from someone who's still dealing with the ramifications of a choice that he made. Many of you are in college, you're away at college right now, or you're home and you hear about a cool block party that you want to go to. Take it from someone who's still dealing with this stuff. Look at Malik and ask yourself, am I as fit as Malik? Are you as fit as Malik? Malik went out. Malik runs every day. Malik practices basketball and runs every day. He's in shape. Some of the people that COVID is taking out, if you have a pre-existing condition like hypertension and diabetes and all those things, or if you're a little heavier, then COVID is gonna impact you worse. So young people, look at yourself. You know who you are, and you know how you are. Don't put yourself in a perilous situation by thinking you are invincible. By thinking you are invincible. Wear a mask if you must go out. Now, here are some of the ways that the Centers for Disease Control says that COVID spreads. So, currently there is no vaccine for COVID-19. There are a couple of vaccines that are in the works, but there are currently no vaccines. The best way to prevent this illness is to avoid being exposed to this virus. This virus is thought to spread mainly from person to person, between people who are in close contact with one another, usually within 6 feet. It spreads through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby or possibly be inhaled into the lungs. Some recent studies have suggested that COVID-19 may be spread by people who are not showing any symptoms, and that's what's called asymptomatic. Malik, do you have any idea who you were infected by? I mean, you had a bonfire. How many people were there?
It was a lot of people. I can't give you a number. It was a lot of people.
So this was what we would call a super spreader event.
Yeah, probably.
A lot of people. It was more than 10, more than 20,
Yeah.
100,
Probably less than 100.
more than 50, between 50 and 100.
Yeah, probably like 50. I'll say probably 50.
Probably about 50 people, and you guys were all in close proximity to each other.
Not that close, but it was kind of close. It was a inside, and you could go walk outside.
So you spent. Oh, I thought it was all outside.
I spent most of my time outside. I wasn't staying inside.
So even though you spent most of your time outside, you still got infected. Were you when you think back when you think back, the friends you were probably just around some of the same friends, your buddies that you went there with. They didn't get infected. Who was the one other person that got infected? I don't name a name, but there was somebody else in your group that you went with that got infected.
Yeah.
Did y'all ride in the same car or?
Yeah, we did. I drove to one of my friends' apartments, and then we all carpooled to the bonfire.
How many people were in that vehicle?
4.
So 50% of the people that were in that vehicle that went to that event got infected. So when you think about it, those statistics, those numbers are very high. 50% of the people that were in the vehicle that you were in got infected. That's a high number, folks. That is a high number. Now you probably got infected by that person, because it says that it spread from person to person between people who are in close contact with one another, usually within 6 feet. Respiratory droplets are produced when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. Do you remember anybody coughing?
No.
Sneezing?
No.
But you do remember people talking.
Yeah.
So that is a way that COVID is spread.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talk, you cough, you sneeze, there are these droplets that can land from your mouth. So some droplet from some person landed in your mouth, bro.
That's possible.
That is, you don't feel a little gross right now?
No, that happened 3 months ago. I'm not thinking about that.
No, I'm just trying to be a little sensational right now. But that's how this thing spread. So, but had you had on a mask
Mm-hmm.
the whole time,
Yeah.
in the car, inside and outside, you still could have had the same fun because the event wasn't great anyway.
No.
What did you really miss out on by not wearing a mask?
Nothing.
He missed out on nothing by not wearing a mask. And I hope that I have sufficiently driven the point home that this thing is serious. This thing, young people, this thing is serious. Listen to your parents. We're the ones who are praying for you. And it won't be too many more tomorrows before you guys will be the ones praying for us. But for right now, we're praying for you guys. And the Lord is telling us things and showing us things that y'all just don't want to listen to. But this is not something that you want to treat very, very cavalierly. So if you must do anything, there's some things that you want to do to protect yourself. Make sure that you're washing your hands. Make sure you're washing your hands before eating or preparing food, before touching your face, after using the restroom. Just be clean. Just wash your hands. Avoid being in close contact with people. If you are in close contact, make sure that you have on a face a mask, a face mask. And if you are in an area where you got to spend a lot of time with people, make sure that you're wearing a face shield as well. Make sure that you are covering your mouth and your nose with a mask and or a face shield. If you are feeling ill, don't go out. If you're feeling any symptoms, don't go out. Don't put anybody else at risk. And if you cough or you sneeze, make sure that you cover your mouth and your nose. Make sure that you are cleaning and disinfecting. And make sure that you are monitoring your health daily. Malik knew right away that he was not feeling well. Malik knew right away that he was not feeling well. Malik, what else would you add to anything that I've stated here?
Nothing. Just like you said, wear the mask if you must go out, and you should be okay with just the mask. I think. I don't know how exactly it works, but I think they said that if you wear a mask, you're not really protecting yourself. You're protecting other people from getting it. So if everybody wears the mask, you're protecting yourself and other people.
Wow, that is so true. That is so true. If everybody wears a mask, then everybody's protecting you. You're showing your care and concern for your fellow man. Mm-hmm. Just wear a mask. I don't care what nobody else is. You're not some super patriot because you don't wear a mask. You're not some super faithful person, and it is not a sign of a lack of faith. Let me turn around to this camera and say this. Because there are a lot of you out here that are leading people astray. You're leading people into an early grave unnecessarily because you're making them question their faith because they choose to wear a mask. Wearing a mask does not mean you have a lack of faith. Wearing a mask does not mean that you do not trust God. Wearing a mask does not mean that you don't believe God. Wearing a mask does not mean that you still don't believe that God is your provider. If you get sick and you have cancer and the doctor says that, you know what, Mr. Jones, if you take this chemo, there is a 99% chance that it's gonna heal this tumor, this cancer. You're gonna take that, and you're gonna take that chemo. So why are you trying to make people think that just by wearing a mask that it is somehow a lack of faith on that? Stop that. Stop that. Your fake piety is killing people. Now, I feel very passionate about this stuff. I know people close to me who've gotten sick and who've died from this thing. How dare you? How dare you trying to puff yourself up in the interest of your fake piety, your fake religiosity, try to convince people that wearing a mask is somehow showing a lack of faith. Stop it. You're wrong for it. You know better, and you ought not do it. Now, that's the end of my rant. But I get sick of people doing that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes you know you pop Malik.
Yeah.
Charge to my head, not my heart. Sometimes I can be a hothead, especially when people are doing stupid stuff like that. That's just stupid. That's dumb. I ain't even gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna put lipstick on that pig. That's dumb. Stop it. Stop telling people that if you wear a mask that you're not a patriot. Stop telling people that if you wear a mask that you're a wimp. I'm not gonna wear a mask because I'm a patriot. I'm not gonna wear a mask because I'm expressing my freedom and my liberty. As I recall it, the words are, we are endowed by our Creator with these inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Is not life mentioned before your liberty? Is not my life worth as much as your liberty?
So we've thrown a lot at you in this podcast. We've thrown a lot of information that hopefully will be helpful to some of you in making a right decision for how you're going to comport yourselves in relation to dealing with this scourge that we call COVID-19 and the novel coronavirus. No one is invincible to this thing. COVID and the coronavirus knows no limits and respects no one. That is evident by the recent notification that our president and our first lady have both tested positive, as have some 23 other people that attended various events that the president and the first lady were part of, from the announcing of Amy Coney Barrett as the candidate for the Supreme Court, as well as the the presidential debate in Cleveland at Cleveland Clinic. There have now been a total of, at least as of this recording, 25 people, among whom are the president, the first lady, and at least 3, maybe now 4 sitting senators. There are other various dignitaries that have been infected, and the list goes on and on. Folks, do the right thing. Do the right thing and wear a mask. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for someone that you love. I just read a report. Well, you guys have seen the news just like I have. President Trump has been admitted into Walter Reed, and he's undergoing experimental treatment, and which usually you don't give those treatments unless someone is in dire health. Chris Christie has just announced that he has tested positive for COVID, and he's already checked himself into a hospital in New Jersey because he is a rather heavyset guy, but he also has asthma, that is a volatile cocktail for dealing with COVID, the weight and the other comorbidities, and asthma is one of those. So he checked himself into the hospital in his words, out of an abundance of caution. Folks, don't let that be yourself. Don't let that be your family. Do the right thing. Wear a mask. Observe social distancing guidelines. Observe all of the safety protocols that have been put in place by the Centers for Disease Control. Even if you're governor, even if your local mayor may not believe in the science, believe in it for yourself. Believe in it for your family, and take care of yourself, take care of your family. And until next time, this is Pastor ABE saying, according to your faith, it will be unto you. Be blessed.